Yeah, so look, I'll start by giving you guys some context. I graduated last May. I started in Google in my first BDR role last August. And we did a couple of weeks of training. I went through training with a lot of product knowledge, as you'll probably be aware with Google, it's so big. So we had a lot of product knowledge, a lot of sales training, and then I hit the floor. And in my first 6 weeks on the job, I booked 0 meetings. Not a single meeting could I get. That brought me up to October, November. Thankfully, I crawled over the line. Since then, I've hit about 100%, 110, 120% month on month, which ended up culminating in April. We moved from monthly targets to quarterly targets, and I ended up hitting the Q2 target in the first 4 days. Since then, I've moved on to more of a mentorship role in my team. But there's a reason I'm telling you that. The title of my talk is How to Miss Your Target Month After Month. And the reason I know that is because I've done it. I wanted to look at some of the reflections that we'll have on going from not hitting targets to hitting it consistently and overachieving. And I noticed that at a lot of these talks, you learn what to do and what to take on, but not necessarily the bad habits that you might have. So that's why I wanted to talk about that today, the things that I didn't know I was doing wrong that were stopping me from hitting my targets. Firstly, if you want to miss your targets, you have to not play the impression game. And there's two elements of that. The first part of the impression game is if you don't make enough impressions on somebody. And some people will take this as a multi-touch approach, but not having enough touches. So I would give up after one email, a bump, 2 phone calls, and a LinkedIn message. If somebody didn't get back to me, it was my problem. I wasn't bringing them far enough along down a cadence, and I was overestimating the quality of my touches. Of course, people are going to respond to me. I spent 20 minutes on an email. Nope. No good. So you need to remember that I think the number is 18 for C-suite. You need to have a certain number of touches built up before you'll get a response. Now, some of you will know that because your organizations have taken on that approach. It can go too far down the other way as well. You could be on step 7 of an 18-step cadence, and you could toss out an email and just be like, I'm only on step 7 anyway. That's a problem too. A good part of playing the impression game is making a good impression on each impression. So that's something that you need to think about. So if you want to miss your targets, don't play the impression game. Secondly, if you want to miss your targets, make your messaging about you. This is something that you'll hear a lot. But if the first line of your emails, of your outreach is, hi, name, I am, we do, I help, we support, there's a problem. Even we solve your problems, or you have problems that we solve, those are still about you. Your initial messages have to be about them. So it's not necessarily we solve your problems. I know that you have a problem. I sell to IT leaders. Google is well known for data. I'll talk to data analysts and go, hey, I know you don't have all of your data in one place. That's still about me, unless I'm like, hey, other data analysts are having a lot of trouble when they don't have their data in one place. Would you be curious to learn more about how we solve that? Ask permission to talk about yourself, and ask for curiosity at the beginning. There's a whole Gong post about that. But asking for permission to talk about yourself will allow you to reframe your messaging in a way that is more receptive to them. If you write, hi, I am, you've already lost. So remember to do that when you're writing up your messages. And the third thing that you can do, and don't tell your bosses I said this, is what you can do to miss your targets is work too hard. I used to do that. I still do it sometimes. But there's a reason for that. Working too hard. So starting at 7, ending at 7. There's a time and place for it. We're SDRs. Ours is not the time and place. And there's a reason for that. A lot of us come from college. A lot of us come from work hard, work hard, work hard, deadline. A lot of us come from that of ramp up to a deadline and then dip again. In the SDR job, there is no such thing. So we could get into that habit of, but if I just target these 10 accounts, then I'll stop then. I'll rest then. But after those 10 accounts, you get another 10 accounts and you have to keep going. So set yourself these strict limits. Close down your laptop at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever time you work for your market. close it down and do something else. You're allowed to reopen your laptop again, but not for work. Go do something else. Mine is a cycle or a bit of exercise. Go refresh your brain, or else you'll sit on your bed and then you'll come back and you'll work for a couple of hours. Working too hard, and because there is no finish line like college. And that actually comes from a personal thing. Some of us gauge our personal success on our professional targets, which is the wrong thing to do. It's ridiculous. And if you're feeling personally attacked right now, that's for you. Actually, I'm not just going to leave you with that. If you have any issues with that, Google the Wheel of Life exercise. It puts work in context. But anyway, so I'm coming up to about 5 minutes now. Those are the 3 things that you should do to miss your targets, not play the impression game, make the messaging about you and overwork, or not hit your targets. But there's one other thing. And Jasmine and Jack kind of touched on this. You guys are all attending this webinar. You're all here sitting in this webinar, listening to people who are giving you their best practices. And I used to do that every single day for the first couple of weeks. And I would think, well, I'm listening to all these people who know what they're doing. Why am I not succeeding? Listening is not enough. If you could be watching and listening to all of these things instead of doing something. So pick something that you heard today, pick it and just do it. Because if you go into work tomorrow morning, having listened to 6 talks and nothing has changed, then this was a waste of an hour and a half. And if you think that you've come to the end of this talk and I'm the last one and there's about a minute left and you're like, I haven't picked anything out, here's something for you. Go through each of the speakers and connect with us on LinkedIn. But don't just send a blank connection request. Send, hi, Bryan, I liked your sales confidence talk, or I hated it, each to their own. And do that. And here's what you'll get out of that. We'll accept, we just will. Some might respond, some might not be able to with the amount of work that they have. But what'll happen is, in a year's time, you could be applying for a BDR job in Google Cloud, and you could go, oh, I'm connected with Bryan. You reach out to me and you go, hi, Bryan, can you give me some insights on Google Cloud? And I'll go, yeah, sure. But I'll scroll up and I'll see that we've had a brief conversation where you came to this. And now you're not somebody to help, or you're not somebody who just reached out for help. You're somebody who I've interacted with already. Taking something small from these events and going that extra 1%, just add that extra 1% over the line, accumulating that's what'll bring you to more success in hitting targets quicker. So on that note, do connect, do say hi. But I have hit my 7 minutes, so I'll let everybody jump back in. And hope you guys have a good day.